gone down, but this company, OpenAI, Sam Altman hitting code red is making headlines. Think of it as a pivot mode. It's going back to survival.
OpenAI has everything to lose from here, and everybody else of this competition.
And that's a great mindset. The math was very simple. If you've got something working and you know leads are getting generated that way, let's double down. And what does double down mean? It's no more lead centric. I don't think we have even a problem of leads, to be very honest, right? Because we've got something right which is very signal centric.
We were able to basically increase 2 to 3x of meaningful conversion and 2x of revenue and customers by not increasing anything, of course, on the SDR side or on the sales side.
The salesperson today, the SDR fixes meetings, the AE runs the demo probably.
Correct.
And even closes the sale automatically. So there is no one else involved. If OpenAI can do it, then so can you.
Morning, Ramesh.
And good morning, Sri.
Good morning, Ramesh. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. It's getting chilly in Chennai. There's a nip in the air. Weather is amazing. It's a festive mood. It's the end of the year. A lot of great things. A lot of action happening in Chennai, across the world.
Yep.
In the world of GTM, in the world of AI, in the world of Sam Altman. So many things happening, right?
Yes.
So, welcome to yet another episode of Outbound by Highperformr. And before we start, Sri, let's take a quick detour.
Okay.
Before we talk GTM.
Okay.
Right? It was just last week.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you got to see Sam Altman at OpenAI, a company that is probably known to us only in the last 3 years, has already hit code red.
Okay.
Right. And you usually hear this when companies have gone public or have probably their earnings per share has gone down. But this company, OpenAI, Sam Altman hitting code red is making headlines.
Okay.
All right. What happened? Google drops Gemini, their latest update, and they beat all the benchmarks. All benchmarks with regard to what's happening on search.
Okay.
Just to hit one thing, right? They want to get back to the drawing board to fix their speed, their reasoning, their personalization, everything. And Sam Altman seeing that, imagine competition that is still so stiff. Sam Altman fires an internal memo declaring code red. He puts all hands on deck to fix ChatGPT's speed, smarts, personalization to compete with Gemini. This is not even a public company as yet, right? All fancy AI with regarding to verticalized AI, healthcare, right? Think of it as a pivot mode. It's going back to survival. Maybe, they could drop 5.2 with way more accelerated memory, accelerated speeds, personalization, everything. And it could be just around the corner tomorrow or day after as we speak, right?
Yes.
So if OpenAI can admit that, hey, maybe we are optimizing for the wrong thing, then I think as what we see in our small worlds as startups in specifically the GTM world today, I think, we all have to be so agile to be able to hit reset and need to start constantly, right? So
I think Ramesh is a very, very interesting point to understand, right? Exactly, meaning it's not a drama. I would say typically, we look at a lot of these things as, hey, it's like a PR stunt, right? Knowing Sam Altman is good at deals and doing PR, but it's a reflection, I would say, right? It's a reflection of the fact that really, the OpenAI is a market leader in AI. No doubt about that. At the scale at which they are operating, they are looking at, they're admitting that they're looking at wrong metrics, maybe, right? They're looking at, measuring, what is measured by scale versus a lot of other things, right? And in fact, the red, the code red means they stop looking at ads, they stop looking at different types of agentic workflows. All of that is past. They're going back to the grassroots because that is where the threat is, right? And OpenAI has everything to lose from here, and everybody else of this competition.
And that's a great mindset, right? They do not have everything to lose. The way you put it, you probably be a little harsh. But the flip of the switch to make that is, I think,
correct. So what it means is that, see, end of the day, including ours, right? The GTM teams, we should also ask the question for ourselves: are we measuring the right
Metrics.
things, right? I mean, invariably, just getting back to the GTM stories, right? Invariably, we've been measuring leads, number of leads as a success metric, rather than the pipeline, the meetings that move, the conversation that convert, actually the account that shows up with our intent. I mean, that is where I think I would look at this.
I think we've said this repeatedly, but in this context, it's all the more relevant when we say
Yes.
the old way of the funnel that was there.
Correct.
The funnel is constantly evolving, right?
Correct.
The funnel was always optimized for leads. It was very lead centric in nature, right? Bring the top of the funnel. The top of the funnel always meant leads.
Correct.
It means a lead that has, forget intent or anything at all. It just meant a lead, a raw lead is what you wanted if you had to go down.
Yep.
And it was always, the math was very simple. If you've got something working and leads are getting generated that way, let's double down. And what does double down mean? Increase the budget, which means increase the leads.
Okay.
When you have more leads, increase the headcount. You wanted more butts on seat.
Okay.
And the assumption was it will increase the pipeline. And I have been through this again and again.
Sounds
and
very
again.
familiar.
Very familiar, right? And the hope was, yes, when you do all of this, conversion will increase,
Continue. Yeah.
which means you will get more, right?
But I mean, that's like the last 10, 15 years. I mean, that's where the whole, the growth at any cost was playing, right? Where, it doesn't matter, if they are good leads or not. We only optimize for volume.
Correct.
Right? Just the volume was the only aspect.
Yeah.
And there was like, between the lead and the customer, there were 100 different things which was playing in. The lead becomes MQL becomes SQL becomes an AE qualified, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Then you pray, literally. Right?
Correct.
That's the
Old world, right?
Old world.
But the new world is very evolving at rapid pace, and all of this we're seeing in the last 2 weeks, or at least at what's happening at Highperformr. It's no more lead centric. I don't think we have even a problem of leads, to be very honest, right? Because we've got something right which is very signal centric.
Okay.
So today, when I say signal centric, it goes automatically a level down where the lead is anyway qualified.
Okay.
Which means you can qualify. AI can do this job of qualifying the lead by faster enrichment.
Okay.
You have internal parameters so it can be scored well. You can even route it to the rep that you need to. Right? If it's a lead coming in from LinkedIn and it's got intent, move it directly to a rep. Versus, hey, here are a bunch of leads that are probably engaging with someone. So that's a separate signal. And then it's just a matter that the salesperson starts looking at the next level of metric, which is follow up to get a meeting. And which just means that the old idea of, how many leads did we get from this webinar or from this campaign? I got 200, and let's stop celebrating that.
Okay. Because maybe that's because, Ramesh, the GTM is still measured by the inputs. Per se, right? What you're saying is leads is nothing but input, and is not really by the velocity, of the activations or the real outcomes. Right? That is what the problem is. I don't think companies don't measure the GTM by the number of meetings they book, but that's because of the way we've been doing it for a decade or more. We don't look at the number of stakeholders involved in your buying process. Have you heard about any GTM team talking to you? You know what? I've got all the buyers who are involved in the deal today.
Oh no!
Right? That's the whole. I would say that's the change, or that's the whole problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are looking at only the input, and we are not looking at the the real parameters or real things which impact sale.
Absolutely. And I think a very small number though, but this is the metric that kind of spiked in Highperformr's math, so to say, which is when we saw this internally happening last week, we pushed for more meetings. And that got us more. We never discussed the leads. We never discussed how many leads an SDR got or how many leads did an AE or a caller get. We measured how many meetings happened, and because of that, touchwood, we've got 2.5 times more customers than the previous month.
Correct. So, I think just to step back so the audience get that right. So what we're saying is that, hey, this is also a realization we've been going through, right?
Yeah.
I think coming from the world where we've been doing all things the old way, right? But But the one thing which changed in our approach is that we've been talking about in the pod, we've been extensively automating the top of the funnel, the so-called top of the funnel.
Correct.
And in the last, I would say 60 days or so, we suddenly see a spike in the number of customers we've been closing, for good reasons, touch wood. And we kind of went back, and Ramesh and I started doing the planning for the next year, 2026, and we want to basically get to 3 to 4x of the number of customers we are currently doing, right? Then immediately the math plays in back, right? And the only way we look at that is basically increasing the number of seat capacity, because sales capacity is the number one parameter here. A lot of things around that, right? And apparently what we discovered, Ramesh, is firstly a big surprise where we were able to basically increase 2 to 3x of meaningful conversion and 2x of revenue on customers by not increasing anything, of course, on the SDR side or on the sales side, not adding any single penny on the ad spend, not even a single additional campaign, but the results were 2 to 3x.
Absolutely.
Right? And only reason is that apparently last 60 days or so, we started measuring conversations.
We did.
Right?
We did, right? So this is what Sri and I do every day at 3:30 p.m. Along with our sales folks, is open up HubSpot, and it's a healthy exercise, and all we discuss is, hey, how many positive conversations have you had? How many meetings have been scheduled?
Correct.
It was never about the first column of how many leads you get, right? It was only the second and the third column. And when you do this constantly, the lever is no more lead gen, right? It is about, hey, this person has sent a signal. So that's lead relevance. The timing, hey, have you been instantly able to reach out to them through a multi-channel approach?
Correct.
And that is completely automated. And therefore, you get access to that person much faster.
So the other change, Ramesh, what we've done as well is that look at sales as a full stack, right? Because that's
sales people as a full stack sales. Yeah.
Let's just break it down, right? So
sure.
Let's also break it, because that's changed. I mean, there are two parts to it. I think first break down where or how did we break the sales roles, right? Can we just double click?
Yeah. I mean, so you want to go ahead?
Let me talk about the like how there is this whole the old way of doing things. And today, what we're able to do with AI, let me just quickly talk about things, but would like to understand how things, manifested, right? I think right from prospecting to enriching, to prioritization, ability to kind of do a hyper-personalized sequence, right? And even the follow-ups used to be an SDR job. I think that's something which we have stopped doing, right? I think most of it is done by the entire orchestration layer of AI today. Of course, we use Highperformr for ourselves, but, the entire layer of actually prospecting, finding leads, sourcing leads, researching about the leads, all of that is basically been offloaded to an AI agent.
So what does the SDR do?
Yeah. So now what does the AI do? So exactly, that's an interesting question, right? SDR's focus is to only get meaningful conversation going.
Yep.
And fill the calendar. Only qualified. The SDR doesn't even have, or SDR or salesperson doesn't even have the option of, looking at even qualifying a person, right?
No, it's already done.
Everything is already taken care. So that is where we stand today. Right?
So then what's the AE's job?
I think transition into full stack GTM, right? That's what we want to do.
That's very true. We've been talking about this even in a previous part.
Correct.
The salesperson today, right? The SDR fixes meetings. The AE runs the demo probably.
Correct.
And even closes the sale automatically. So there is no one else involved, which means that the moment you have an SDR coming in, they stop doing any of those repeated tasks of researching, enrichment, scheduling and all of that. They just go ahead and fix meetings.
Correct. So which means you're talking about full stack seller.
Yep.
No additional headcount, but in a more sense, I think it's more deeper account, selling or managing, right?
Yeah.
That's a more important thing. And one more thing which we have seen, this is not just for like inbound or outbound or SMB or mid-market or enterprise. I think the buyer shouldn't basically have to explain the same pain point 2 to 3 people. I mean, we can all say that we've been using a lot of CRMs, contextual flowing, all of that is great. But even the people involved there, they lose momentum. That's what is happening. Maybe these are the nuances which basically contributed to this, the significant spike in the conversation. I think that's what I think.
I think so. It brings us back, right? Taking a leaf out of Sam Altman's code red. So, Sri, what does it mean for GTM metrics now? What are we supposed to be optimizing for?
I think we are moving away from the number of leads. I think there is enough leads coming in. Of course, but you move from the number of leads to how many accounts actually showed up. The actual signal to buy. Each company has different signals to buy, right? We should go look at what is the signal. Actual the buyer intent signal, right? How many meetings have been moving forward? In fact, if you look at it, there's number of leads come in, then they translate into meetings, but how many of them are moving forward? What
Correct.
percentage of meetings move forward is an important metric to track.
Absolutely.
Right? And how many signals turned into conversation? Literally, the way we picked up, right? We measure the number of people involved. We have not been able to sell a product if we have only one person involved in the sales cycle. Simple as that, right? So, of course, go hard at being able to DQ the leads or deals. But these are the signals you should look at. If you have a deal which will be pursued by your sales team and you only have one person involved in it, at least I would leave it to you to decide how your stakeholders manage. But in our case, if there's only one person maybe involved in the deal for more than 2 weeks,
it's not
it's a red
moving
flag.
forward, right? So, again, if OpenAI can admit that they were optimizing for the wrong metrics, so can Highperformr.
Okay.
Anyone else for that matter. And I think that's making a big difference in the way, right? So you start looking at from a GTM perspective, we'll probably talk more about it even from a product perspective. But for today, if the GTM side of things, you want to start optimizing it, one advice is to move away from just talking about how many leads. Do we have enough
Correct.
leads in the pipeline? Marketers should be talking to sales about how many meetings have been booked, because the leads are anyway getting auto-qualified by some tool or the other, right?
Very interesting point, Ramesh. What it means is that we've been looking at the marketing as the top of the funnel.
Correct. Yeah.
Look at marketing as a GTM, and
Correct.
we have to move down the pipeline.
Absolutely.
Move down the funnel, right? What it means is that offload all the enrichment, research, the follow-ups and qualification, all of that things which used to take a lot of time
to AI.
Right?
Yeah.
So as a result of it, your teams, can focus on understanding the lead, bringing consensus within the team. I think bringing stakeholders to be, to be prospected, build relationship, right? That is the most important thing, right? Show value, right?
Correct.
That is where our team should be spending time.
So maybe that's the reset in itself, in some sense that stop counting what AI can do for you, because that's already been established, and start measuring what humans can do. In this case, SDRs need to be focused not on leads or what they're getting, but not even qualifying them, because again, that can be done. But can you get X number of meetings? I think that's where
in fact, that's a very, just as a closing thought, Ramesh, what you're saying is very clear, right? Of course, use AI, adopt AI. I'm sure everybody's trying to do some form of shape, but go confidently replace the whole activities you do on the top of the funnel. It could be even generating content to extend where you kind of do outreach across channels. You should basically, it is already proven, and that's the space where you could deploy AI. At the same time, you have to train, retrain, set the expectation for teams to get to the grass and build relationship with your team, right? What it means is, so stop looking at lead count and focus on the timing to reach your customer, the context of whether they'll buy. And
I love it.
Build more conviction.
So you're actually automatically moving one level in the Kanban board of his CRM, moving one level ahead in your starting conversation itself. So so if OpenAI can do it, then so can you. And it's important to keep this reset. We're doing a lot of these things. We changing this entire piece, looking at newer ways of lead gen, qualification, looking at how AI can help perform better.
Yes.
The only idea is, how can you make the SDR role more meaningful, AE role more meaningful? And at the end of the day, let's not just pay our incentivize for meetings, but actually for revenue that comes downstream. So that's the whole idea. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Please let us know what you think, and see you on the other side.
Thank you. Bye.